Ay, Pseudos. I loved you guys so much. Even the new one that I played in the previous video. Last time, I asked you all for reaching a total of 10 likes, and oh my god, you guys crushed it! And because I wasn't expecting that level of support so early on, today is the day that I'm giving to you the part 2 of the Pseudo-Legendaries video. If you already watched the previous video, or if you don't care about the rules, you can go for a minute that is gonna appear right there. If you decided to stay, here they are. Rule number 1. Not Pokemons for any specific groups. That means no starters, no mythicals, no legendaries, obviously, no fossils, no ultra beasts, no paradox, and the most important, no evolutions. I talk about putting multiple evolutions, but at the end I decided to scratch them all off because if one is a pseudo, technically all of them should be. So, no. They do not have a gimmick attached. I already said that in the previous video, but most people want a slacking to be there. I wanted it as well, but I don't make the rules. Well, actually I do, but he's still not in. And last, if a Pokemon already represents a typing, it cannot represent another one. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. With that out of the way, let's start with... Last time, we talked about the physical prominence of the fighting type. So today, I wanted to start with the other juggernaut of the physically offensive Pokemon. I'm not gonna talk about the dragons. Instead, I'm gonna start with the ground type. Being tied for the most super effective targets, and having the single greatest not drawback generic move in the history of the game, it's just obvious that we have to put them as an offensive threat. And having an above average physical defense, I only had to go half a generation back in the past to find my target, which I choose to be Ursaluna. With a move pool that includes attacks from almost every type in the game, an ability that allows it to boost even further its physical attack, and one of the craziest physical stat lines that we have ever seen, it's hard to justify not putting it here, despite the fact that it's so young. Even its double typing wasn't that much of a drawback, considering that most of the other candidates were also double types. So I think that it was pretty obvious almost from the get-go. In this case, the honorable mentions were for Mamoswine, Excadrill, Crocodile, and the closest of them all, and the only one who was also a monotype, Mudsdale. From a great offensive typing, we have to go to the other end of the spectrum and find the defensive-minded rock type. Being the sad product of every game requiring to have a worst archetype, the rock type has been constantly humiliated by both the community and even Game Freak itself. But despite the fact that their only generic move with 100% accuracy has only 50 base power, and that they are the only type in the game who doesn't have any Pokemon banned in Gen 9 nor in National Dex, unless Iron Boulder gets banned, they still have a couple of good mentions of potential pseudos, with Pokemons like Gigalith, Glimora, and if it wasn't because of the rules, both Tyrantrum and Aurorus, after taking a look at every single one of them, I had to give the nod to Garganacl. Being part of the Gen 9 wave of having extremely strong Pokemons with new things all over the place, it made sense that he was here. With solid defenses, one of the craziest abilities we have ever seen, and, you know, Salt Cure. I hope that they put this move into the Shadow Realm. Garganacl has had the gift of being a consistently meta-relevant Pokemon ever since it first came out. So, even though it was extremely tight, I think that I made the right decision. Since the arrival of Mike Tomlin as a head coach, the Pittsburgh Steelers had never had a losing... Wait, what I'm talking about the NFL. For third time in a row, we go for a physically oriented typing in the Steel type. And why, you may ask? And well, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like, from the get-go, this has been by far the easiest choice of the entire video. And no, it's not Klinklang. I'm not gonna put a Pokemon that has clan in its name, with a K. Jokes aside, if you have participated in competitive Pokemon for more than 2 minutes, you know that there are some Pokemon that are more cash money than others. And you know which the most cash money Pokemon is? Yeah, Mr. Golden Go. This greedy bastard not only forces you to be an absolute millionaire to evolve it, but also he's pretty damn great in everything. A great dual type in Instill and Ghost, and an insanely high special attack, which is the complete opposite of what the type is, but I don't care. With him being so rich that he can throw his money and make it rain, and being as good as gold, you know that he deserves to be here, and probably also deserves to be banned. The honorable mentions that don't include any pure steel type, yeah, I'm not gonna add Clinkling's Clan, are Magnezone, Scissor, King Gambit, why are you here? You're already in the previous video for the dark type, and Revabroom. Aye, if they only gave to you your Torques, they should have. This place is really cold. Can somebody bring me something hot? Oh, thank you. The ice type is an interesting case. They managed to do something that I thought that it was impossible, having a worse resistance spread than the normal type. However, they have something really good on their side, which is being one of the strongest offensive typings in the entire game. They came in all types of shapes, types, and colors, and with colors I refer to different shades of blue. Some of the honorable mentions are Pokemons like Cetitan, Weavile, Lapras, and the highest base stat total out of any Pokemon that is not of a special category, Vanilluxe. But I think that most of you already knew who was coming, because it was also kinda obvious, and that one is Mamoswine. I actually thought for a second putting above him someone like Vanilluxe, but after seeing some of the special details, I decided to keep it with the Mammoths. Having a tough summoning condition, just like most of the other Pseudos, having a great ability that allows him to remove one of its weaknesses, having stuff like really strong attack and HP, and having a move pool that is bigger than the amount of time that you had to spend to find the 999 Goldengo coins, Mamoswine just seemed to fit like a glove. Although, if I'm being honest with you, if it wasn't because of its extremely lackluster move pool, I would have chosen Vanilluxe instead. Vanilluxe. Historically speaking, the flying type is one of the weirdest types that we have seen. Being mostly relegated to just being a secondary typing, we literally have no options to put it as a single typing or a monotype, unless you want Corvisquire to be the absolute best Pokemon. Even if we don't care about the pure typing, there's only 6 Pokemon that have had their primary typing to be flying type outside of those. And one of them doesn't even count because it's part of another evolutionary line. And although I think that it's pretty difficult to make this typing to work with the Pseudos, if it's not for something like Salamence or Dragonite, I think that I hit the nail with Togekiss. A widespread move pool from both sides, not that you're gonna use the physical ones. An annoying summoning condition where you have to level up its friendship and gave it a stone, and you know, one of those weird cases when a flying type Pokemon that is not one of the early birds actually looks like a flying Pokemon. I think that this Pokemon fits the narrative of a Pseudo. Honorable mentions would go to both Noivern and Corviknight, being some of the very few Pokemon that actually have flying type as their primary typing, and Sigilyph, because he is special. It's finally a time. Finally, I can talk about you, Churkitry, why you are the greatest Pokemon ever created, and now everyone will appreciate your greatness. Wait, what do you mean that I cannot talk about you? What do you mean that you are a Ultra Beast? What's that? When you think about speed, there's only one type that can come to your mind, and that one is the electric type. Which is why it makes me wonder why there's not a single electric type that is fast and not atrocious. Like seriously, out of all the qualifiable options, all of them are either terrible or they are slow, which makes no sense. But yeah, whatever, I had to choose between some of them. because not a single electric type actually fits the narrative of both being fast and being slightly closer to the special side while not being terrible. The honorable mentions are Luxray, Ampharos, Heliolisk, and a last minute addition in Rotom. All of them have their pros and cons, but after deliberating with my 3 cats, I have decided that the best option was to complete from the previous video Electivire. But don't get me wrong, he doesn't get the spot just for affiliation. He also has a kind of weird evolving condition. He also has a ridiculously vast move pool for both sides, and he even has insanely good stats, with having both of their attacks being really good, even though the best one is the physical attack, and a speed that almost reached 100 base. Yeah, the ceiling of electric types is that low. So yeah, thanks to a fun coincidence, but also its own merits, Electivire takes the spot. Oh, look at him, so cute, so cute. You're better than all of those Pikachu and Pikacolons. Bug type. Do you remember that I said that the Steel type was the easiest one to decide? Well, a light is the bug type. I'm not even gonna try to pretend that this is a tough decision or that I don't know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows which Pokemon is here. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it again. It's Volcarona. Don't get it twisted. It's Volcarona. It will never stop being Volcarona. This fella evolves extremely late, learns everything you could ever ask for. It actually has a signature move, something that was not that common at all in Gen 5, and it has been the highest base stat total bug since forever. Like, it's so clear above everyone, like, it's not funny. If I sound mad, it's not because of Volcarona. I love it. The problem is that it's so boring to have a typing that is just so obvious. Still, I'm gonna throw the honorable mentions of Scizor, John Mega, and Golisopod. While doing my research, I just noticed something interesting about the poison type, and it's that it's extremely mediocre. Like, look at those stats for every fully evolved Pokemon from that typing. Like, how can be you so mid? Like, this is amazing. It's memorable. It's commendable, to be honest. So, being part of the mid type, sorry, poison, makes me question who I should have chosen in the first place. I had tons of honorable mentions because I didn't knew who put exactly. Mook lacks a lot of things. Toxicroak is Dragalge is an algae. Glimmora lacks the move pool, and Garbodor was gonna be my previous choice. Like, you know how doomed this type is when my choice was going to be Garbodor. But after looking at everything, I had to choose Skuntank. But honestly, after looking at it like deeply, it's kind of a good pick. Yeah, it's not great statistically. It's pretty mid, which is great for this typing. He's also not the most difficult Pokemon to evolve, but he definitely fits the agenda of a poison type Pokemon. And the move pool is honestly it's absolutely crazy. Support, physical, special moves. I was surprised when I said that first time. And I'm looking at it right now and I'm even more surprised. So yeah, even though some other Pokemon could have maybe gained the spot, just gave it to Skuntank. Like, if you want to make a case, I'm not gonna fight with you. Who would fight for it? But yeah, he's the one. Congrats. To finish it up, we're gonna look at the Fairy type. And before anyone asks, no, I'm not gonna do Stellar. And yes, in the triple question mark, mi signo is the pseudo. Everybody knows that. I thought that it was too obvious to put it in the video. But yeah, here they are. Considering that is the last typing to ever be added, and that in the previous video, Dragon type was the one that closed it all, I think that it makes sense that Fairy type is the last one to be talked about. Throughout their short story in the games, they have showcased some of the most broken Pokemons ever created. And to be honest, a lot of their regular Pokemons are not short of impressive either. After debating with myself for a long time, I decided that the Pokemon that represents this type the better has to be Hatterene. She, and yeah, always a she, has everything what you could ever ask for in a Pokemon. It has a nasty ability, a really good special move pool, and even stats that, outside of speed, could legitimately be ones of a pseudo legend already. And even in its design, I think that her presence is just simply one of a majestic Pokemon that would fit perfectly with the other pseudos. The honorable mentions would go to Gardevoir, which, off the record, what a disgrace for Gardevoir. She was not selected for the Psychic type because she had added the Fairy type, and she was not selected for the Fairy type because she was originally a pure Psychic. Yeah, what a sad time to be a Gardevoir fan. I think you guys, 34, yeah, 34 of you are crying, I don't know. And Flurges as well, which is actually the highest base at total of any Fairy type. And wait a second, I just noticed something. Why every single one of the ones that I chose are clearly feminine looking Pokemon that are don't ask any questions? Thank you so much for watching. Every type of support is completely appreciated in this channel. And just for finishing off, I don't know when this video is gonna come out, but being so close to it, I'm gonna say to you all, thank you for the 100 subscribers, and that probably the next big video is gonna be related with that one. So yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.